Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode in the max difficulty run in Oxygen Not Included. Cycle 795, and all is well. All is well, actually. We haven't really run into too many problems, aside from there have been some issues. And one of those issues, excuse me, jeez, seem to have something in my throat. Let me take a drink. Okay. One of those issues, which I actually ran into before, is the game added a random duplicate. I loaded my game and I had 7 dupes, and this happened once before, and I just enabled debug and destroyed them. But I don't know why this is happening. I had it happen once in a game, in a prior game, prior run, but it's happened twice in this game, so I don't know what's going on. But it's always on reload. It doesn't just pop up randomly. It's just whenever I reload the game. Also, I'm having a problem with this fridge area. So it looks fine now, but as you can see, like chlorine leaks out. So I've added the storage compactor with bleach stone in it to kind of pressurize this area with chlorine. But what keeps happening is oxygen is somehow displacing the chlorine out. Even though chlorine's like heavier than oxygen, right? It's supposed to sink below it, as you can see here. But somehow the oxygen is forcing the chlorine out, and the oxygen then is able to make its way in here, and stuff starts degrading. As you can see, my food is 215,000 kcal, which it used to be like 500 something, and that's because I had over 100 barbecue rot on me. Because this was happening. So that was really, really sad. It really sucked. But we're starting to make the barbecue back up again. But what I've done is just I plugged all these fridges in, basically. Because this keeps happening. And I don't know if it's just with the design, the way it's set up. But if anybody knows why that's happening, then I would love for you to let me know in the comments, because I don't really understand it. I mean, this room's full of chlorine, and the pressure is very similar to the oxygen. Let's see, where's the oxygen is 2,000, right? But down here it was 1,800. Like a couple, I don't know, 20 cycles ago or so, it was like 1,800. So it's actually like, I don't know what's going on. It's forcing the chlorine out. Maybe the bleach stone can't actually pressurize up to 2K. See that? Like chlorine leaks out whenever I open that door, so I mean, it looked like it did. Maybe it doesn't. But I do know that oxygen makes its way in here, because I've had stuff start rotting on me even when this was full of chlorine and stuff. So maybe I need to rethink the design on the food storage there. One other thing that I didn't bring up when I was going over the petroleum factory is I am running the solid gold line through these tiles, so they do get cooled down to about 200 something degrees before they're dumped into this chest. So I'm not just dumping 1,000 degree gold down into the soil. It's around 200. We have redone the automation for this guy, and it actually is working now. I actually put a little thought into it instead of just slapping something in there. So we've got an Yate connected to a element sensor and a thermo sensor here, and the thermo sensor also lets like hot oil out to be turned into petroleum over here. But essentially I've just got it set to above 230 degrees and then crude oil. So if it's above 230 degrees and it's crude oil, then we'll start pumping fresh oil in, because and there's crude oil in this pipe rather, then we'll start pumping fresh oil in, because we're going to be pumping the coolant out. So we'll need to replace that. And for this to work, the valves need to be relatively close to the same. Their inputs need to be relatively close, or outputs, I guess. I don't know. They need to be close to each other. Let's just leave it at that. But I am generating a lot of steel now that I got all that fixed up. I also moved my rock granulator down here, and we put a storage thing here which stores our lime and iron and also fossil, which I might be out of. I did go up and dig, yeah, 34 kilograms. So I dug a bunch of fossil out, like over here. So we've got we've got a few bits of fossil in some places, but I've dug out like the bulk of it, which kind of sucks. Dig out that stuff. There's a little bit down there. Yeah, I've dug out pretty much all the fossil over here. So I'm kind of running out of fossil, and I don't know if I'll ever have enough just with fossil to make enough steel to cover the entire top ceiling, the bunker ceiling that I'm trying to make up there. But maybe I will, and I'll definitely have some eggshells laying around that I can convert as well. And there's definitely some closed off areas with like puffs that have just been cracking eggs since cycle 1, you know. So I've got some eggshells I can gain access to. We're actually getting meteor damage here. That sucks. So let's take a look at the bunker ceiling. So this is the progress I've made so far. Actually, we can just do this. There you go. So I've stopped doing the every other tile thing because I wanted to prioritize. As you can see, these things are, you know, getting destroyed pretty rapidly. So I wanted to prioritize getting those protected rather than doing this thing here, which is kind of protecting the entire surface. But I think we're producing enough steel now to where we can go ahead and slap this down. Let's go ahead and finish this side off, actually. Making this out of mafic rock, so it's relatively close. I think that's the end. Go up here. There we go. That's annoying. I can't actually... Okay. We're gonna have to click on it. Cancel. There we go. That is freaking annoying. Maybe I need to increase the size of the UI or something. Not enough materials. Is it still going to make it out of steel, though? Yeah, okay. So we don't have enough materials, but when we do gain enough materials, then it'll make it. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but you don't actually need to repair these. So I just put them on priority 1 here, and they can still be used. I don't know if they're like slower or what, but it seems to not make a difference. So there's really no point to repair them, so why would I, right? Just make all this priority 9, except for the ladders. We don't want to repair those. So use all our steel here to kind of get this bunker going. So as you can see, once that gets built, we'll be good amount of the way. So I was a little off with my 100 cycle prediction, but I think that's simply because I wasn't producing steel fast enough. And the reason I wasn't producing steel fast enough is because I ran out of iron. But it said I had iron, and that's because of all this iron. Because the duplicants can't actually reach these from the ladders. So it was saying I had iron, but they had to run all the way up there just to grab a little piece of iron. So that's something that I need to actually redo, because the only iron I'm assuming is the ones up on the bunker tiles there. So let's go ahead and turn this metal refinery into an iron factory right now. We could as well pop over to the iron volcano and get that set up, and then we would never have to worry about iron again. But I think I have plenty of just raw iron ore that it's not an issue. And I've still got like some massive chunks of iron ore over here that I can mine out, and probably other places as well, but got some over here. There's plenty of iron ore on the map. Honestly, if you're ever out of iron ore, I don't know what you're doing, because it's kind of impossible to run out of iron ore. You have to actually try to run out. See more and more. There's just so much of it, tons of it. Another thing I kind of want to do is actually start pumping this out, fully encase this thing so it just stays hot. Make this out of steel. Actually, what is it output at? 326. So steel is actually not enough. You know what? It might be. It might be enough. It might be enough if we leave these tiles as granite, because it's not going to cool the oil down instantly. And we could pump all this oil to get turned into petroleum down here. Although it is kind of something that's not really important right now. So Eventually we'll do it, right? But let me go ahead and discuss this plan. I probably didn't, I don't know if I said anything, but I did get a battery bank set up here. At least we're starting to. We've got one little row here, and I'm thinking this is probably the layout we'll go, and we'll just stack it up. I'm thinking this much room is probably plenty of room. I don't think I'll need more than that. So, and then currently our heavy watt wire is right here, but I'm thinking I'll move it over here, and then I'll just run heavy watt wire along this side of the map. And then whenever I need a line, I'll just run a transformer into like a gold wire because I have 62 tons of gold. So I'm never going to run out of gold. Gold is actually going to be, it's probably going to become a problem at some point. Actually, I don't know, because we will be making oxalite, right, in the oxalite refinery. So maybe we won't have a problem with gold because we'll turn it into oxalite. Because I think you need oxalite for one of the rocket engines or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's just for the cabin and the rocket. I don't know. I haven't messed with any of that rocket stuff. But speaking of rockets, though, before we get into the rockets, this is going to be my new power plant area. So we'll be setting up some, well, pretty much every power plant or every power generator I need. So we'll have like coal backups. We'll have natural gas. We'll just pump all of our natural gas over here. We'll have hydrogen generators from our spawns because I'm actually getting quite a bit of hydrogen buildup. You can see, so this was the original line. We're not using this thermal nullifier anymore, but this tank's full. And then I forked it off down here, and you can see that this tank's full. And this one goes to this thermal nullifier, which is basically only cooling this cooling loop for the steam over here. But you can see that I've got this all the way backed up to here. So I think what I'm gonna do, let's see, what do I do here? I kind of want to get rid of one of these coal generators, set up a hydrogen generator. Oh god, this is gonna be kind of a pain in the butt. Okay, I know what I'll do. We'll just put it out here for now. So hydrogen generator, where are you? There you are. So we're going to, sure, we'll just slap you right in there for now. You're going to be moved later on, so it doesn't really matter where we put you. So that's going to work out fine. Let's make sure to dig all that out. You know what? Let's put it down a little. It's like, why wouldn't it cancel? Okay, let's do that. Let's put it down a little more because I don't want to mess up our path to walk here. So let's just slap it there. Some tiles underneath it. We're going to need a battery to shut it off when we don't need to use the power. And then we're just going to, where's my power wire? Oh, sure, I guess we'll just do it that way. That's fine. And we're going to need automation, obviously, and then ventilation. So what I'm thinking is we'll just tag a line right off to here. So if it's backed up all the way to this point, then we'll start filtering it out. And that's going to work fine. So let's go ahead and deconstruct this. All right. And let's kind of hurry it up. Doesn't need to be a 9, but we are getting backed up. And what will happen is we'll eventually get backed up and our spawns will stop working. Or they'll start destroying hydrogen. I'm not sure how it'll function, but it'll cause problems, and that's not something we want. Temperature in the bedrooms is quite toasty, but we are pumping oxygen, cool oxygen in here. As you can see, it's coming in at -6, -8. But by the time it gets up here, it's just sitting in the pipe. It's 18 degrees, so it's quite toasty, but you know, as they use the oxygen, we'll cool it down little by little. Eventually, it'll get to temperature. The decor is amazing, but 400 in some beds, really nice. And thank you to the comment. I think it was a comment by Brian who let me know that I built some of this out of iron, some of the lavatories out of iron, and well, it was one up here, I think, but I went back and checked the other ones, and they were actually made out of iron too, so I fixed that. It's not that big of a deal if they're gold. They do add slightly more decor. I think I can show you here. Yeah, I still have some sinks made out of iron. So we look at the decor is -5. Wait, hold on. Sink. Okay, so this sink is made out of iron, and its decor is 10. This sink's made out of gold, and its decor is 11. So it gives you a bonus of 1 decor. So it's not the biggest deal, but it's kind of nice, you know, because you got to get that morale up, which my morale is pretty good right now. I have pumped people into some higher priority jobs. We've got a lot of people on tier 4 now. Pretty much everybody except for Banhi here, who doesn't really need to go over. Once Joshua finishes farming, we'll put him on the cook position. But that is that. We're having trouble kind of keeping up with our food. As you can see, our gristleberry and bristleberry count is very low, and that's because we're generating like pretty much just enough to feed our dupes. So I kind of like to get sleet wheat set up, although it's going to be a pain in the butt, and I already know it. I already know it's going to be a pain in the butt. Although I do have water. That's something I haven't mentioned. So this is my cool water supply. It's all 10 degrees. Pretty good. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 containers. 9 if you count these. Well, 9.5. And we're starting to back up even more. So this cool water generation system is amazing. And you see I got some broken wires here, or damaged wires. I set up a transformer here, and I was going to try and siphon off the extra power, but that instantly started to break the wires, so I had to get rid of it. Was not working correctly. The petroleum was backed up, but this reservoir was made out of iron, and it kept overheating because it's hot in here. It's getting hot in here. So as you can see, I've got this huge petroleum, because when you deconstruct one of these reservoirs with stuff in it, it just drops it as a bottle. You can see I've got 5 tons of petroleum in this bottle here, and it should be emptied actually. Let's go ahead and sweep it, and they should like pop it into this bottle emptier and just dump it down to here. But we have filled back up, and at one point we had a petroleum backup at our plastic production, but looks like we've gone through it all. See, how much plastic do we actually have? 6.2 tons, so a pretty good amount. We could actually get some transit tubes set up, which would probably increase efficiency by a ton. So if we just set like a transit tube right outside the store, I don't know if I want to do that, because I want to move these out here. I want to move these out here. Obviously, it would still be enclosed, but I kind of want this for other stuff. Maybe I don't. I was thinking because I want this ladder to go all the way down here, because I want this to be another bedroom. But at the same time, I have an ambition to create like a space high-rise apartment complex right out here. So dupes wake up in the morning, look outside their windows, and all they see is blistering hot sun. I don't know, but that's my idea. So probably over on this side, and then we'll leave like industrial stuff onto the right side with rockets and things. How's our steel? No steel. Dupes are starting to build this stuff. This is nice because we need to protect our surface here, man. I don't want to leak any steam out. Well, the steam's cooling pretty quickly, so that's not going to happen. But actually, we're getting quite a bit of water in here, and that's a problem. Water is actually starting to become a problem as far as how much of it I have, because I have all that stuff, right? And then I've got all these little pockets of polluted water. And then if we go to my water reservoir here, well, that's weird. What's going on there? So a little carbon dioxide pocket being forced down by the other gas. I love the fluid simulation in this game. It's so I don't know. It's just weird the way it works, but it's kind of like snot. It behaves kind of like snot. But yeah. So we've got our giant reservoir here, and water is no longer an issue for me at all. I think even when I set up the sleet wheat, it's still probably not going to be an issue because our coolant system can handle it, and if it can't, we'll just set up another one, or we can set up the toilet water coolant system. But as you can see, the heat has turned this cold biome into a hot biome, and I don't think that this will ever get to a point where the steam won't condense, because a lot of these tiles are just igneous rock, so we are like venting the heat off the sides and the bottom to kind of turn it into steam instead of trying to run like a cooling loop on here. But I think there's just so much mass and like it's all connected, so it's never going to get to a point where the temperature is the problem. But that timer means that's the end of the episode. Wasn't very exciting. This kind of happens because all I'm really doing is just making this, making this steel bunker up here. The game would load. There we go. So yeah, this is kind of, it's, I imagine by the next video, this is all going to be completed, and potentially we could have some other projects done as well that we can talk about. But yep, that's going to be it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you have any suggestions, questions, specifically about this chlorine here, if you know why this is happening or you know I can fix it, leave me a comment. Or if you have any other questions or suggestions, leave me a comment as well. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all have a wonderful day.